How you doing?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I mean, I'm great. There's nothing else I can do but be great. I just, waiting to get started again, waiting for the world to
Where
open up.
are you?
I'm in Westport, Massachusetts.
Very nice. Very nice. Is it a lovely, quiet hamlet?
It is, yeah, it's a quiet hamlet, very quiet. Thank goodness the weather has turned because
Oh,
it was dismal and dreary. And this is the kind of place where it can get kind of fog and like a fog and cloud lock-in kind of thing where it'll be cloudy and foggy for days and you don't know when it's going to lift, and then all of a sudden it's beautiful, but it's like that humidity and we're right on the water,
oh,
so it can get humid and kind of, but I can't complain. We've been here since March 15th. So
wow. Wow. Have you completely acclimated to the life yet?
well, the thing is we still have New York license plates, so
Okay.
that gives us away, unfortunately.
Okay.
Which is what it is. People, I think now they're starting to realize that we've been here for a long time.
Right.
But, I mean, being close to Rhode Island, the whole thing, it definitely was made clear that we should be taking our precautions, which we have been doing the entire time.
Sure.
And, but we definitely we've had to really do our best to smile and integrate as much as we can. If you can do that from behind a mask, I feel like it's a lot of winking, a lot of trying to be nice.
It's amazing who know you once the mask is on. And I was wearing a mask and a hat because I'm growing a Havanese on my head. And somebody said, "How are you?" And I'm going, "How the hell do you know it's me? Like everything, it's just this."
I know. And the amazing thing is you realize how there are people who have beautiful eyes, but they're really beautiful when you can see their whole face.
That's all you got. That's it. That's it. It's just like you're working out of this. I like your duck. I like the duck.
Oh, thanks. This is the whole theme of this house is like this house is built in the 1800s. So it's like, all the theme is like old farmhouse and everything. So
That's great. Well,
it's very not New Yorky, very not New York
you
City.
look comfortable. You look peaceful. You look centered. And these days, that's a premium. That's a big time premium. So tell me about the team. We'll do a little business, then we'll do a little fun, then we'll come back to business.
Yeah, so the Hudson Advisory Team was founded in 2017, beginning of 2017. I was a founding member. I came over at the same time as Clayton and Stephen, Clayton Arrigo and Stephen Ferrara. And I knew the team was going to be incredible. And I was totally sold on the idea, especially once I realized that the two players that was going to be together, and then the people who were going to be joining with us.
Sure.
And it has just been the most incredible ride. And we really are, it's a really incredible team. It's really fun to work with, such an in sync group of people that really have a lot of the same values, and most importantly, kind of have the same hustle. And it's fun and it's funny, a lot of laughs, which is really important to me. And it keeps me young. I think I'm the oldest person on the team. Probably. Yeah, I definitely am the oldest person on the team. Maybe, yeah, by like a little bit, but definitely the oldest one, and the one who's been in the business the longest, because I've been in the business for 13 years. So they took me on as like the mama bear, experienced broker. So, and since I started with everybody, I had a third child. So I just they had to roll with the fact that I came on the team, and the next thing you know, I was like pregnant.
I'm the oldest person on this Zoom, so that's really all that matters. That's it.
My initiative is mothers going back to work and mothers working if they want to work. And this idea of figuring out a way to help moms so that they feel empowered and they feel like they have resources to be able to go back to work and do whatever they want. And if it's real estate, all the better, because I do think that real estate provides really, really flexible way for women to work and make money and still, be able to be with their kids a lot. But as real estate has become over the last 13 years, even more intense, I tell moms who want to get into the business, I say, you have to realize that this is not the flexible job that it used to be. Even when I started, it was more flexible. It's become 24/7, and so is yours. I mean, we really have to be so high touch and so on that if it stresses you out that you can't turn it off, then you probably isn't the right job for you, because you really have to figure out a way to really be ready to be on all the time. And that's how you get business. as well, is
It's
being
the
on.
only way. It's the only way you get business. It's the only way. And it's amazing. We started doing these Q&As, and everything that you just said is all about the connection. And so many people don't get that. They think it's about the numbers or the stats or the this or that. It's you. You're the business. So
We're our own brand.
That's it. And that connection with moms and empowering,
yes,
all of that is what it's all about. The stats kind of come. What's the connection? What are you bringing to the party that's different than 15 other people? And you just hit it. And that's a big deal. So
it is.
yeah, it really is. So what'd you want to be when you were a kid?
What did I want to be? So when I was a kid, I would say I was very influenced by this commercial where it was talking about to become a veterinarian. So I really thought I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was growing up, and realized pretty quickly that being a veterinarian probably wasn't the right thing, considering and then I was brutally attacked by a dog when I was like in 3rd grade. I was like, probably not, like maybe me and the animals are probably not good. So, and it wasn't like, oh, trauma from dog, but still I was like, well, probably not the right thing.
Right.
And I never was that person that had a real passion that was like, oh, I'm going to be this thing. I just always knew that my education was not going to be what made my job, because I've always been super dynamic, very, very independent, super, super strong personality, like independent to a fault, to the point where I'm also almost a loner. And so a lot of traveling, a lot of alone time, a lot of doing my own thing. And so when I stumbled on sales, that's when I realized, wow, I can combine all these things of being this independent kind of quirky person and just channel it enough and just stick it out in one sales job. Just pick a job of sales,
right,
and a big ticket item, and just stick it out, and someday you're going to be good at it. It's just going to happen if you just stick it out and you keep, being yourself and following up.
and look what happened.
Yep.
And it worked out.
It's working out.
So what's the best part, other than the ducks? What's the best part of isolation?
So for me, the best part of isolation has been that I can really direct my time on some of these projects that I've really been putting on the back burner for a long time. I've always wanted to write a book. I hired a ghostwriter, so I'm writing a book. So I'm writing it. I'm giving over all of my incredible information to this person who's becoming me and learning all about me. And it's been super, super cool and fun. And it's awesome. I've been doing a ton of videos that I'm using on Instagram, and trying to channel some of this motivational stuff into videos so that I can empower moms, empower other agents. And then the other thing that I did was I created an organization called Moms of Compass at Compass, which has been really needed for a long time. It had just been kind of started by some agents that were in DC. I took hold of it and got our larger marketing at Compass involved. And we basically crashed the internet when we launched it on Mother's Day.
Wow.
We surpassed our greatest imagination of members. We're at over 500 members. We had our first event. We're going to do virtual events, and then we're going to expand this into community events that help moms in the community that are agents have planned events to include the community, help foster business, but also help them, work with other agents that are moms, so that they can get hacks, ideas, nanny shares, anything that I missed because of the fact that I started doing this and probably was one of the younger moms as a real estate agent when I became a mom 7 years ago. So it's something that really is important to me, that there be a really nice mom network, especially for young moms who are agents, because there's more and more young moms who are becoming agents. So we have a huge support from Compass for this, which I think is really awesome. And we're seeing that there's a huge demand, which is great.
That's fantastic. Are you enjoying, I know you're enjoying this, but are you enjoying the virtual element of your new day-to-day? I'm suspecting you're on, a dozen Zooms a day.
Yes. I am using it as a learning tool, because if I'm going to keep doing videos like I do, especially for Instagram and for anything that's my future personal marketing, and hopefully continuing to push my cause, video is the most important medium to learn and be good at. So I've learned about colors. I've learned about putting on makeup. I've learned about my ring light. I've learned about all these things, which then makes me feel more confident and more excited to be in these Zoom calls, and makes me more impactful, because if you don't know how to work the screen, it's harder to be impactful.
Sure. And what about the opportunity of connecting with people who aren't necessarily in the next office or right next to you.
I mean, that's also been really cool. I've been spending a lot of time taking Zooms with people that I would have never, I would have tried to say, let's meet up. But now, and also the same with organizing events. Like I'll organize mom events with moms, and it's so easy because they just say, do you want to have a call tonight at 8? And nobody has to buy wine, get the crudité, get the Barnard girl to come and, spill your drinks all over your couch, all that. Like, you don't have to organize any of that. So it's kind of great. It's a little bit of a hack. And then we're all going to go back and want to be in person. And then I'm going to be spending 5 hours getting my dinner parties ready again.
Right.
Now,
Do you think this is going to stay?
I think people are going to take more Zoom calls than they did before and be able to decide to take meetings, because I still think that in person has been so important for so long that I think that, when you're going to say, I'm really going to fly to Chicago for one meeting, maybe we'll try to do a couple more like this.
Sure. So it's not like you've been phoning it in during isolations. What keeps you motivated and what keeps you grounded?
So I keep motivated with exercise and also with trying to combine motivational literature with my exercise as much as I can. So I do a lot of walking and a lot of running, and what I've done is I've tried to combine really steeping myself in motivational listening literature, like listening to motivational books on tape, I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins, a lot of, guided meditations. I've been doing a lot of creating a demand pull by other people's words, because I've found that during this time, it's very difficult for me to every single day wake up and say, I'm in an awesome mood. I'm me. I'm going to go do my usual routine in New York, which I have a really strong routine that I use to put myself in a peak state every day. Whereas here I have found that, we had terrible weather for a long time, a lot of childcare ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs in the business. We got into this, it was a dreary time, even just weather-wise. And so I realized it was time to just decide to get on it with listening to some really, really strongly motivational, deep stuff. And I have to say that's been keeping me motivated. And I'm doing the same with my business partner. And we're spending a lot of time listening to that stuff. And I have to say that sounds super hokey, but it's really great because it gives you less of an excuse, because you've got this person in your ear telling you come on, man up. No matter what the situation is, you need to suck it up and be in a good mood and start making your phone calls. And that's what's been really helping me. And as far as staying grounded, my kids are the thing that keep me grounded, because I have young children and they look up to me, they copy me, they care what I do. My 6.5-year-old is always, following me around, repeating whatever I say. It's very powerful.
And it's very cool.
Yeah.
And it's very cool. So give me aside from Tony Robbins, because I'm a big disciple, somebody said to me, I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I used to have the CDs, and I said, I used to have the cassettes. So don't even.
God, he's still my heart. He's such
come on. I was like, the cassettes used to go into the dashboard. What have you listened to? Give me a great podcast or something you've been listening to.
Well, aside from Tony, I've been listening to a lot of books on tape. So the most recent one I listened to, which is a real classic, is the Secrets of the Millionaire Mindset by Ari Harkov, which I really enjoyed. And then I've been dabbling in Gabby Bernstein and who else? Glennon Doyle and all these major, like Elizabeth Gilbert, all the major thought leaders of right now, just also from a research perspective to kind of see what's resonating with women and mothers right now. Okay. Because I think that's important. And because I feel like I've always just been such a loner that I almost wonder sometimes, it's interesting to hear what the thoughts are of these other people, because you wonder, I just, sometimes I'm like, I'm a crazy person. I'm, listening to all these, men doing motivational stuff. I'd be interested to hear what women are doing. So that's what I've been focusing on.
Also, it's the connective element, because you realize, everybody's kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
No question about it. Any good reads? Can you read in this? Can you focus? I can't.
It's very hard. I'm reading a book called The 5 Love Languages for Children. And it's a book that was told that my coach, my Tony Robbins coach, gave me, because of the fact that my 6-year-old is just, it's very hard, right? It just, she's really strong-willed, hot-headed, hard-headed. And so she suggested it, and it's a way, and it's a book that they also have a relationship version. And it's this idea that there's 5 different love languages that you use to show someone that you love them. And one of them's gift giving, one of them's touch, like even just a shoulder rub, or like, you know, touching their arm. Something, there's one that's service, which is doing things for them, you know, quality time that's alone with them. And so I'm reading this book, and it's supposed to help make better connections with your children, which if you're a working mom is one of the most important things, because you have less time with your children. And so if you can make more quality connections, it's really important. So that's what I'm working on right now.
And you said fitness.
Fitness is my, I mean,
There's no equinox. Is there an equinox there? There's no equinox there.
No. And you know, I moved way uptown to Manhattan Valley about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And I realized up there that there really weren't any quality exercise places that were close enough that made sense to go to. There's an equinox in the 90s, but it was far enough that I started just doing much more at home. So I really have a very efficient home workout regardless. So for me, this hasn't been that different. And when you're used to doing a home workout, you don't need extra motivation. You just do your home workout. It's just keeping the diet element in the same place, which is the hardest part of quarantine, I think.
It's okay. So then I'll lead to that. What's the best thing you've eaten in isolation?
Well, I am eating a lot of lobsters because we're in the lobster capital.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, it's like $8 a pound for lobster here if you want. So
you got me with that.
They'll cook them for you. They'll cook them up for you. So
I just got a great lobster roll on the way home today. I went and saw a client out here, and on the Shinnecock Reservation, I saw a sign and it said Shinnecock Lobster Factory, and it's a little hut. And I'm like, all right, you know, I've been eating acai like nonstop. Let's try it. It was unbelievable. I mean, and they had 3 different portion sizes, like minnow, guppy, shark. I go, give me the shark. And I get in the car, and I can't even wait. And the box is like this big. No kidding around. The box is this big. And it was a Cajun lobster roll. Oh my God, it was so good.
So good. Lobsters are really, really fun to get up here. And it's a really fun treat that you can do. You know, if you eat, and they'll pre-cook them for you. You pick them up pre-cooked, you bring them home, you just, you know, crack them open. It's really fun.
How far are you from Maine, where you are now?
I think we're still like another solid 3 hours. Maybe.
Okay. So you're not that close. So best thing you've eaten is lobster.
Yeah. Lobsters. Love lobsters.
You don't need any new hobbies in this, because are you running the same schedule? Are you one of those people, you're up at 6, you're doing your thing?
Well, I'm up at 6. I would say in the city, I'm usually up like a 5:15. Here, I do that like a couple days a week, but I don't do it the way I was doing in the city, just because of the fact that that's the hardest thing, is to tell yourself like you need to get up at 5:15 because you got this packed schedule. Right. I definitely would say that when I'm in the city, because I go into the city 2 to 3 days a week right now to just get some extra work done and start prepping for what's coming for us. And then there I'll usually get up maybe more like 5:45. But when things are really up and going, 5:15 is when I have to get up to be able to do everything before everybody wakes up.
Wow. So what are you winding down with? Are you binging? Are you watching? What do you wind with? You got to wind down.
I would say the only thing I'm winding down with is wine on the weekends. I let myself have a little wine on the weekends. That's really it. I tried to order some paleo wine because I was like, if it's paleo, then it's okay.
All right. So we're gonna head to business in a couple of minutes, but we're gonna knock through the fun questions.
Yeah, sure.
All right, here we go. What's the restaurant that you miss the most? It can be anywhere. I used to be New York City centric when I asked the question, but anywhere. What's the restaurant you miss the most?
I'm trying to think. With Italian, I literally only eat Italian food basically because of the fact that my husband's Italian and I'm obsessed with Italian food. And so I would say there's a place called like it's Germino's or something that's on the Upper West Side on 93rd Street in Amsterdam. Okay. And that is my favorite because it's up near me and it's like a super classic place. It's not fancy. There's no reservations and it's really, really good. So that's probably my favorite because we go downtown to go out to dinner with other people downtown. Sure. We don't necessarily aren't super picky about the Italian food downtown. And I spend so much time in Italy that in the end, like as long as it's really quality Italian food, I'm fine with it. It's more the issue is when I don't really love the like super, super, super fancy Italian food. I love the quality place that knows how to make the puntarelle, which is like the weird salad thing that they have with the anchovy paste. Like that's the stuff I like.
What's the best restaurant in Italy you miss?
Oh, in Italy. So there's in Milan, because we spent a lot of time in Milan. My husband's from Milan. There's a place called La Libera, which is in Milan, which is a super, like, they call it casarecce, which means like it's like home. It's home, like Italian Milanese food.
Sure.
And the guy that owns it, who is like super dressed up in like very, very like super fashion outfits, but he's got like the mustache.
The handlebar?
Yeah, the handlebar mustache that's like rolled up, and he's wearing like a yellow suit and like a yellow hat, like that whole thing. And he's owned it for all this time. So that's a great place where you can get like all the really classic Milanese dishes. Like even there's this thing called riso al salto, which is like where you take risotto and the next day you literally cook it in the pan in like butter, and it turns into like a rice cake thing.
Oh.
It's like all like crispy. And you can get stuff like that there. So that's my favorite.
All right, I got to focus. I got more questions to answer because now my head is there. If you have a 6.5-year-old, I know the answer to this. Have you ever made a TikTok?
No, you know what? I'm in the process of making one. I have a babysitter here that's in her 20s, and we're going to start doing. She's going to teach me how to do it because I tried to do it myself because there was one song I really wanted, but if they don't allow the song you want, you can't use the song.
Correct.
So I have to go in and like learn the songs and the dances. So tomorrow we're going to learn a song and a dance. And she's
all right. So, you know,
I'm in the process. I'm committed.
Pretend I asked that question in about 2 or 3 days.
Very
roller coasters, yes or no?
I'm like, I hate heights. Hate it. I'll do it, but like I'll probably close my eyes.
French fries or onion rings?
Onion rings, 100%.
Love that. Pickles, yes or you don't get it?
Everything. Pickle everything. Just
And we're back. We found a deer in the backyard yesterday with one leg that was, I think the leg was injured. And the two of them were going nuts. And I'm going, I could call animal control, but I was afraid that animal control would have put the deer down. So I have this whole thing. I leave the deer alone for half an hour, go out into the woods, and the deer figured it out and headed off. And I'm like, thank God, because I didn't know.
That's like a quarantine. That's like a quarantine metaphor.
Oh, right. There's so many of them at this point, which leads to, Lenny, dogs or cats?
I grew up with cats, but I would prefer dogs.
And beach or mountains?
Mountains, 100%. We have a place in the mountains in Switzerland, and we're
it's awesome.
About it.
You're in it. Italy is your place. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Favorite pizza topping is prosciutto.
Oh,
like prosciutto crudo, you know, the one that's like the one that you get the fat streaks and all that.
I want to hang out with you more. Okay, there we go. Let's talk about business.
Yes.
I have a couple of fun ones I'll throw in at the end.
Sure.
So it's been 12 weeks. It's been 10 weeks. It depends on who's counting, how much wine you've been drinking. It's a whole thing. How are things?
Well,
and are deals getting done?
Deals are getting done. I know that whoever's doing them is sneaking in and somehow doing them. There has to be there, and there, for those of us who have too much at stake and listings where we can't get in, it's unfortunate because we can't get in. So deals are getting done. People are doing deals, and rental deals are happening. A lot of, I mean, you know, and rental deals, it doesn't mean rental deals are happening and the rental market's on fire. It means that the plates are shifting, and so the people are moving, and so that creates rental transactions, because you have to, when you have to move and it's a rental, you move and you close out your lease.
Sure.
If you move and you have a sale, but you don't want to sell it because of the fact that you think you're not going to get enough for it now, you put it on for rent. So you can see the inventory rising for rentals, and you can see that the sale inventory still hasn't really resumed because people are still waiting for these in-person showings.
And you can't sneak in.
There's a lot at stake to sneak in.
Yeah,
you know,
you really are.
It's a lot.
And is it worth it? No.
It's not worth it. And because we're so close to it happening, I think that's also kind of slowed things because people say, why would I do something now?
Sure.
I wait till I can see it in person.
Sure.
So I think we're going to see a little bit of a lull right now, right before.
What is it like, I mean, running a team and being part of the brain trust of the team under normal circumstances it's a job. It's tricky, and you're running your own listings and all of that. What's it like driving a group of people in a pandemic?
Well, I think the most important thing I've realized from being in a pandemic like this is that the state you're in and how you feel and who's motivating you and who your leaders are is one of the most is more important now than ever before. We have weekly calls and everybody's looking to the leaders of the team to see what they have to say and what's happening this week, because everybody's doing their own thing and everybody's sitting around wondering, like, what is everybody else doing? I mean, we're all, even if people are putting out a bunch of content about what they're doing, everybody really wants to know what people are really doing, because
Sure.
even Instagram or Facebook is a very small piece of your life. It's not like what's really going on. And I think that all agents would love to know what the other agents are doing. And so we try to keep contacts outside of our team, but we do use our team as a really, really important place to understand what's going on in the market, because with 13 people, I mean, that covers a lot of the market, people that are active talking about, agents that are active talking about what is really going on. So I think that's been really important, and providing calm, reasonable, positive perspective and a place where people can talk about how they're feeling and talk about what they want to, what they're seeing and what they want to do to make this all make this all work out in the end and make us all still make money. Because
Sure.
then there's also this fear, and I took on a junior partner, kind of in an assistant role, partner role right before this happened.
Mm.
And, it was when all this happened, my first thought was, can I keep her? And the irony is that the best thing I did was keep her, because we spent the entire time working out systems, motivating each other, listening to the same literature, doing stuff that just, continuing to push out as much as we could. So for me, that team within a team that we have has been really, really important for me. And I think that and then being able to go back to our larger team and feel like we can say, hey, we're doing stuff and this is what we're doing. What are you doing?
Given current events, which every day it's a interesting landscape to navigate,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think buyers and sellers are going to look like coming out of this? And what do you think is going to be, if anything, doesn't have to be anything, what do you think is going to be moving? Where do you think the focus is going to be?
I think that the sellers who have A+ product that they can sell at a somewhat of a discount are going to be the ones that will sell the most, sell the fastest.
Sure.
Because the fact that the product that's A+, there are agents out there that can sell that product because it holds value long term.
Sure.
If you see the product that went into contract over the past, the last week, this Monday,
Mm-hmm.
it was all A+ product. It was all stuff that you say, this is a blue chip asset.
Right.
And so I think when your asset is probably more like a BC asset, those are going to be sellers that are going to have the harder time unless they're really able to sell with a discount. And then buyers, of course, are looking for discounts. And I think that the ones who don't know what everything's worth, you can hear my kids screaming in the background.
Hey, my daughter's in the city. I can't hear her. The dogs are making up for that. That's what's
one-
great about this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Not to digress, but don't you think Jimmy Fallon going back to his studio is going to be the most boring thing compared to watching him do it in his house?
I think that there's a level of spontaneity from being in your home that is totally different. And I have to say that when you can see your own face, it's very different. Think about it. When you're looking, these are people who are used to looking at cameras and they don't see anything. It's black. But then what I've realized from doing a ton of these videos on my phone is I'm like, hi.
I don't even know where the hair is going. Every day it's a new adventure. I can't even keep it down anymore. I've given up. This is like 1978 wings I used to have.
But hair's a good thing. Hair's a good thing.
I'm not complaining about the hair, but it is a little Havanese-ish. So you were saying, and I digress.
So buyers are looking for deals.
Yes.
And I think that some buyers who are looking for too good of a deal are going to hold out and miss out on some of the stuff that's going to be really, really great. Some of the assets and the trades that they could do, they're going to say, oh, but I'd like another 10% when that's the biggest tragedy when they try to get that extra bit and then they blow up the deal.
And they lose the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. They try to catch a falling knife. What do you think is going to be hot coming out of this, if anything?
It's going to be hot. Well, I mean, it's clear that second homes are hot right now. That's a really hot, it's a hot thing. And then the question will be is will it be hot to live in a no amenities, no doorman building? And will people really, I haven't seen that as a trend. I've seen, I showed someone, I didn't show someone a townhouse. We did a virtual tour of a townhouse this week. And she just said, I just still really want a doorman. I'm having my third kid. I just still want to have a doorman. Like, I just don't want to do it myself. Sure. And frankly, I feel the same way. My doormen are stars. They've been amazing. They've been sanitized. They've been wearing their masks. You know, a couple of them had COVID. They got through it, you know, and it's been, and they're kings and being awesome. So you know what? I'm not going to give up my doorman.
And as it relates to Manhattan, up until the last 8, 9, 10 days, if you ask people, they would say townhouses, townhouses, townhouses. And now the last 8 or 9 or 10 days, I don't know.
Exactly. And things are shifting so drastically. I have family in Minnesota, and, you know, and that's where I grew up. So, you know, it's just been a drastic time. It's a hard time. We're all learning and growing. The same way we've been learning and growing during quarantine, there's going to be additional learning and growing that's going on right now.
Do you find yourself over this time, and especially with the junior partner, have you been adjusting the model, or have you taken the different approach of kind of waiting for things to settle down to figure out what and how you want to go forward? There's 2 trains of thought on that. Have you adjusted the model? Or
I've adjusted. I think that, so in web design right now, somebody taught me this the other day, so I'm not like a web design guru, but somebody taught me this the other day, that there's a difference between websites. There's Agile and there's Waterfall. Waterfall is where you have a static website and it's just the same thing all the time, and you always click and it's always the same.
Sure.
Agile is this idea that as needs change, your website changes. You move the tiles down here, whatever. Our business is agile anyway. To say that, oh, I'm just going to wait and do things the same way, it's just not going to work. I think we have to be agile. I think we have to say there's some of this that's going to go back to normal, because it has to, because that's the human nature, is that we forget and that we go back to our set point. But we have spent months retraining people. So after a certain amount of time, there's going to be a level that people, you know, are retrained into a different way of doing business or a different way of doing things. So I think the best thing that I've done, and I've seen other agents do, is try to get on the bandwagon of learning how we're going to have to sell these apartments a little more virtually, or be a little more accommodating in different ways, or be a little more educated about, you know, ways to videotape apartments, or, you know, other mediums of selling.
Dealing with bottom feeders.
Dealing with bottom feeders, exactly. And bottom feeders is actually my favorite phrase, but it's because it's very, very true. We're going to have to be having those conversations with a lot of people, and the data isn't even there because there's no data. Like, we don't know. So it's like, usually conversations with bottom feeders have to do with data. Right now, like, I mean, I just know that there's a lot of people who are okay still, and they're going to need to move, and this is still a quality apartment. So we're all going to be very agile, I think.
So you feel like, to some extent, it's like buying Apple at $150 a share. There are going to be opportunities that you're not going to see if you have the bandwidth.
Yes, there are going to be definitely opportunities, and the question is the same way the stock analogy is always true. You don't have to hit the bottom.
Correct.
You can also buy at a low,
right,
and it's fine. And I think that people are always trying to time the market and hit the bottom. And I think that that's always the worst way to think about things. Timing the market to hit the bottom, you don't need to hit the bottom. You just need to know what normal values will be when things are normal, and have the plan of holding your asset.
I've got one more fun question I passed on before I ask you the closing question. Oreos, original, double stuff, mega stuff.
Well, as a child, I used to eat Oreos. I haven't touched Oreos in a long time, but I'm pretty sure it would be like mega stuff, because I was all about the cream.
You're a good person. Stay away from the Oreos. It makes isolation a lot easier. A lot easier. So closing it down, what is the takeaway? What's your takeaway from all of this? What do you want your team to know, you know, as you reflect on this? I've always said, what's great about this is everybody has time to think.
Yes.
What's bad about this is everyone has time to think.
He's thinking a lot.
A lot of thinking. Head hurts, a lot of thinking. There have been some incredible things that have come out of this. There have been some incredible tragedies that come out of this. It's kind of like life, right? But for you, what's that takeaway that you're either hoping will stay, or the reflection, or what do you think? And it doesn't have to be one thing.
Well, I feel like for me, there are probably 3 or 4 things that I've taken away from it, because I keep thinking of the things that are the most important. And the 100% number one thing is that the state I'm in and the people I surround myself with are the most important thing. Because I've realized that if I pick up the phone and I call someone and they're really, really having a tough time in quarantine and they're not receptive to me bringing them up, cheering them up, being in a good mood, giving them solution-based ideas, being that friend that's going to listen to that isn't something that's healthy for me right now.
No.
I don't have the bandwidth to survive those conversations.
Right.
It's just got to be in a good state. I'm happy to put you in a good mood. I'm happy to help you find solutions to put yourself in a good mood. And the same thing with clients. I mean, I'm noticing this divide in people who are very focused on making sure they're in a good state and in a good mood and figuring out ways to make sure that every day is a good day, or that at least they're happy about whatever's going on, and those who don't. And I think that we all are entitled to our bad days, but it's an important time to really focus on that. And from that, I would say meditation, and that making sure that you have ways to start your day that put you in a good state, because that does help you deal with what's coming at you. And there's going to still be stuff that's coming at us. I always think that things come in threes, and I keep waiting for the third thing, because I think we have 1 and 2 kind of covered. So the question is what's coming number 3? And then this idea of agility, I really think has been really important for me, is this idea of saying, I'm not just going to sit and wait for this to pass. I'm going to continue to make the best of it and find, we've been doing historical Instagram posts. We've been doing videos about motivational ideas. We've been doing all kinds of things to just say, listen, I don't have new listings to post right now because I can't, but I know you want to hear about real estate. And so that's been something that's fun. And then the last thing is making sure that kids are bored sometimes, because I think that's okay. And I think that as a New York mom, you're always trying to find activities so that nobody's bored. But it's really important to let kids be bored sometimes.
Absolutely. I've been with my daughter for 7 weeks until we took a break, and I'm good. I'm doing my thing. You can do your thing. I'm good. I love what you said about the person being receptive to you coming in with the energy, because if not, I've not heard that. And I will tell you that it does the one thing that I know coming out of this, I'm going to have to make sure I'm insulating myself from, and that is getting drained from other people, because I won't have the energy to just keep it going.
Right.
There's got to be receptive. So
it's so important. And I think
oh my God,
we spend a lot of time thinking, oh, that wasn't a really big deal, that phone call. It didn't really bring me down. But it is really, really hard when you're in a sales business, and it's not just about rejection that's hard, because rejection's one thing, like that happens all the time. But when genuinely you are close with someone and you call them and you want to try to cheer them up and they don't want to be cheered up, that's hard. Yeah.
Pass on the call, pick it up the next day.
And we all have those people that we know, and those days where you don't have it in you to.
I'm telling you something, and I don't blow smoke on these, but what you just said is a great takeaway for me, because I do it. I get sucked into it. I get off the phone and I go, I woke up feeling great. What the hell just happened? And if that could be 10 o'clock in the morning, and that sometimes gets me to 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, until an email will be like, all right, it's not going to be so bad. Or somebody says something. That 5 hours, oh my God, it's crushing.
We're sensitive people. And because we don't have the same demand pull right now that we usually have, it's almost like, the way that you talk about there's like stagnant water, stagnancy. It's almost like we're more stagnant right now in our emotions. It takes us even longer to shake out bad emotion.
Oh my God.
So it's like you can't, it's almost like I see something coming and I'm like, I'm just going to shift and not take that on, because it's not, in a normal day, it'd be hard in New York. It's one thing, you just brush it off and you get on to your next thing.
In this?
Can't do it.
Oh, no.
Gotta take care of number one.
There's not enough paleo wine to help you get out of that tailspin.
There's not. Number one, it's literally like oxygen mask on number one.
That's the other thing. I always say that. Put your mask on first, because you can't take care of anybody else.
Got to do it.
All right. So now we're a kindred spirit from that, because I've been telling that people for a long time. And now I know I got a bag of onion rings coming your way when this is all over.
I can't wait.
They're good.
Onion rings. I can't wait for anything like that.
I've got one source.
I'm near Rhode Island and Newport's open, so I'm not gonna lie. We did go to lunch there the other day because
The best. Where'd you go?
we went to a place called Joe's, which is on the hill. Super good, and we got to eat outside. I mean, we were trying to pick the place that was kind of, had outdoor seating,
Sure.
was going to be cute, was going to be low key, and it was fun. It was really, it feels so nice.
What's the place on the point that everybody does brunch on that's just amazing, and I keep forgetting the name of it?
Is it Castle Hill?
Thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
you. Yeah.
Iconic Relais Chateau. Very, very
Great.
nice. And we drove around to see even that's a great place where you can drive around and see really, really beautiful stuff and still social distance, actually. I hadn't thought about that when I was here, but it was really spectacular.
Even if you get in those little cars.
Oh, I know they have the little car.
The little cars are the best.
You can't fit 3 small children and
No.
yourself in those cars.
No.
So we had to stay in our regular car.
But you get the 6-year-old and she gets her own car. No, I'm kidding. You don't get a 6-year-old.
Yeah, she's ready. She's 6 going on 17.
We're learning to drive and we're approaching 15 because we're bored out of our freaking minds. So.
This is a good time to learn how to drive. Stick shift is right now.
And see that's another part. Do you think that kids are going to have the head for that?
I mean, in the end, it's like anything that's an analogy, that it seems really crazy when you go to do it, and then the next thing you know, you can do it automatically. And you save a lot of money in Europe when you can. Well, first of all, in Europe, you're never going to be guaranteed an automatic vehicle.
Correct. That's
so
right.
if you ever want to go to Europe and drive yourself around, you better learn how to drive stick.
You better learn how to drive stick. All right, these are good lessons.
All kinds of tidbits.
These are good tidbits. These are great. We're going to do this. Hopefully we'll do this again when the world turns back on and we let it
I'll have
play out.
stuff like 2020, beginning of 2021, end of 2020. We'll revisit it.
I'm sure. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it so much. And
so fun.
no kidding. The tips were fantastic. It's good stuff.
Great.
Stay well, stay healthy. I look forward to seeing you in New York in person sooner than later.
Yes, me too.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Bye.
Have fun with those kids.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.